All right, everyone, let's do this. How are you? Welcome to this week's episode of our podcast. It's called Is Breakfast Included? Thanks for stopping by. On the show this week, I talked to Tylor McConkey. Now, Tylor is a local stagehand that I met based out of Buffalo, New York, but I met him at a show in Canadaigua. He had this crazy hat on that I didn't know until I talked to him that he made, and I knew I had to have his story. I sat down with him for a few minutes, and he told me all about it, how he got into local stagehand work, plus a lot more that I wasn't expecting. Anyways, it was really good to talk to him. It was really good to get to know him, and I hope you enjoy it. Let's check it out. All right, man. Tell me who you are, man.
My name, Tylor McConkey. I'm a local 10 stagehand. That's out of Buffalo.
Out of Buffalo.
Yeah.
Canadaigua today, right?
Yeah,
Did I say it right, Canadaigua?
Yeah, Canadaigua, that's right. Yeah, my buddy called me like 5 this morning. You want to go work at Duran Duran? And I'm like, what? I didn't even know. He's like, yeah, Rochester. Here we go. Yeah. Let's go. Give me like 10 or 15 minutes to get a couple of things in a bag. Are we ready? He's like, well, it'll take me 20 to get there, so you're good. So,
Where are you from originally?
I was born in a little town, Richmond, Indiana.
Okay.
Grew up in like Dayton, Ohio.
Okay.
High school years, and then got out of there pretty quick.
Yeah.
I've only been in stage. I've only been a stagehand. I just had a 4-year anniversary, August 13th.
Doing this kind of work.
Right
on.
I kind of did a lot of traveling, kind of jam bands, Grateful Dead, that kind of thing when I was really young. So I worked just the other side of the gates.
Yeah.
Rocks, crystals.
Yeah.
Not the other kind of.
Did you follow the bands around?
Yeah. So it was great.
Oh, like the miracle.
Yeah.
thing?
Oh yeah. Give me a miracle. Go to a town, empty parking lot. Set up a whole village and get it on, and then pack it up and get it to the next town. So very similar work. I didn't realize that this was actually something you could get into without a degree.
Yeah.
And
it's crazy, right? Like I fell into it by accident as well. Like,
right. Yeah.
I didn't know this was a gig.
Yeah, I ended up renting a studio space in our Union Halls building, and the building our Union Halls in. And I was in there for 5 years and kind of run a little short on rent 1 month. And my landlord's like, look, dude, I'm going to have to get rid of you. Or maybe you'll come work at my church. He bought this church. He's turning into a venue. And I went there and I just worked like normal, but I guess I had some hustle in there. He's like, I don't do this, but I would be willing to vouch for you and get you on a stagehand gig. Really? Oh,
that's how you got into this.
Yeah. I got on for Iron Maiden, and then I got a call. Our call steward I kind of knew from the coffee shop that my girl is an old coffee shop at the intersection, which is now, or was Taza, is now the intersection in Buffalo. And he was telling me, our call steward, he was like, yeah, you should apply. I thought he was just trying to make me feel better. Well, he's like, I got you on for Iron Maiden. I'm like, sweet. And I go there, he's like, or I started going, as I'm heading out, he said, yeah, the guy called, you missed the call, but now you're standby. So I go there and I'm just standing there. It was a big call.
Yeah.
And the steward was like, you don't actually, you're standby, but you don't have to actually stand
by.
And I was like, man, you never know. I was like, this is my first gig. I don't know what it's going to be. I'm going to stand by. He's like, if it doesn't bother you, you don't mind if I stand by. And he's like, you do what you want, bro. I didn't get on any of the calls. I was there at 7, didn't get on the 10 o'clock call. He's like, man, you literally stood here all day. You're in for the out. And I was like, sweet. And then after that, they just called me for anything.
Right on, man. And sometimes it's that first impression, man.
Yeah. Then I started doing the theater. My buddy was saying, yeah, nobody gets these for like a couple years. I can't believe you got the call. And Frozen picked me up for like a month and a half. I got on there. I helped him with some prop issues. I didn't really realize how all my years of sewing and making stuff was so crossbred into this industry. So it was really cool. I really like.
You say sewing. What did you do with that?
I made this hat for my birthday.
Dude, let me tell you something. Your hat is what drew me to you.
Yeah. It's still work in progress. I broke my sewing machine, and I still wanted to finish it for my birthday show at the Darien Lake, the Deza. And so I had to bust out. It's a little shabby here, but I had to go to needle and thread for the end, and I never do that. but I had to because I had to finish it. So it was cool. Put a little blue in there. This fabric just found me. So middle of the blue moon, we just had the blue moon and the whole deal. So I thought that was special. I finished up and went out and got that pin. It almost looks like I made that for that pin. Yeah. So I just kind of taught myself how to sew. I actually talked to God one night as I was going through my divorce, and I needed something, and I had designed this raincoat after doing a couple jackets. That's coming out of another story we probably don't have time for, but
we have time.
I literally was, I pray every day, but it was always like an inner, internal, because I felt like the source could hear it, so I never, but I was going through this divorce. I hit it hard. I was drinking 40s of like malt liquor and trying to, cope. And I had finished the last 40, and I knew it'd be a few hours, and I wasn't sleepy. And I couldn't get the motivation to start my thing. And I literally just I finished the last 40, and across the room like a dummy, I had a mirror leaned against the wall. And I was just beating myself up, looking at I throw that 40. I didn't mean to, but it bounced just right and went and broke the mirror. And I was like, this is ridiculous, dude. What is wrong with you? And I was like, God, just, can you send me something? I was like, I know this is horrible because I've never done sketches. It seems like if I draw sketches, I lose the vision. So I just can build it in my head and then pull the patterns down, and I somehow can pull them pattern piece by pattern piece, and those are all to scale in what I need. I don't know, but I didn't have the motivation. I knew the raincoat was going to take about 5 days, and I look up and say, God, please send me anything. I don't care, a doily, because I'll get energy from that, which would propel me through this jacket.
Yeah.
And I know this makes me sound like a crazy person. All the times I had those conversations, inner monologue style, as soon as those words left my tongue, I heard a voice in the room. It sounded like my voice, but it said, hey, you always wanted to make a hat. Why don't you make a hat?
Yeah.
If you feel like doing the jacket after, you could do the jacket. I'm like busted into tears, and I'm like, what? It's like, I feel like it's such a slap in the face because, I feel like I just channeled this stuff out of the ether, and I felt like, man, it took me about a week to get those patterns made in my head, and I had 5 days to get them out. And so I had that. It was the most reassuring thing because I always wanted to do a hat, but I never could justify it financially to stop what I was doing and spend the time to work out a hat, which would be just for me, And but I did that, and I did 2 hats, and they just kind of fell out and were like almost perfect. And then I went to sleep and got up the next day and ate like a pill-size amount of mushrooms for the next 5 days, and finish this jacket. And one day I'll end up launching it all. But I just kind of self-taught.
So you say you were earlier. You said you were drinking like 40s. Was that becoming a problem?
Yeah, well, I recently quit drinking a couple years back.
Yeah.
I'll have one occasionally, but I was a daily drinker. I would drink every day. I would feel more comfortable if there was an open beer next to my sewing machine. I didn't have to drink it as long as it was open.
Just in case.
It just felt more comfortable. Yeah. But I definitely drank. With my ADHD, I was self-medicated growing up.
Right on, man.
But guy lost my brother, Irish twin. He jumped off a bridge in 2000. He kind of did. He was a great artist, but he didn't rely on it like he should have. I feel like he'd still be here if he would at least poured in to the art as much. And so watching him and kind of everything he went through, I just, thought, well, I'll be a partier, but I'm going to just keep it, the ups and downs of it I'm going to go through. I'm not going to chase that high or anything. It still became a problem, in this world, you really need all the focus you can get, and sometimes you get that clarity and focus, and if you don't seize that moment, it could be gone when you go to reveal it again. So, but I feel like art kind of saved my life, and then it got me into this. I feel like I was really kind of saying I might have died behind a sewing machine because I didn't want to sell out, but it kind of it's like you make those choices. Do I want to go overseas or do I want to stay true to my morals and my values? And I did, and it led me to here. And I love my job. Every day I go in, I wake up before my alarm. It's freaking awesome. and with no hangover.
Yeah. Do you like being in this environment?
I love it. I absolutely love it.
Did you play when you were younger? Were you in a band or anything?
No. I always thought I could. I sing a lot, but that's all alone.
Yeah.
I really thought I could. Yeah. When I was really young, I used to dance a lot. I thought I was going to be on the Mickey Mouse Club. No lie. I thought for sure. Man.
How old are you, brother?
I just turned 47.
Okay.
So on the first. Yeah.
We're in that same bracket.
Yeah. So. I don't dance as much. I do more of a two-step. I'm old and don't want to embarrass myself.
Right.
It's also why I don't run in public, because you fall down from that. You don't even have a chance to explain yourself to these people. They just go tell the story about how the kid fell on his face running.
Well, right on, man. Now that you're in this industry, do you see yourself doing anything like touring or anything? Or you like?
I would love to. Yeah. I would like to. I would like to get on a good show where they got a lot of props. I don't know, Alice Cooper or something where it's almost
so
like
that's
theater.
What draws you, the props. And
the theater. I see me.
Of it.
Yeah. I've always made stuff. I've always picking up things and twisting them into things and.
What about a Broadway tour?
Yeah, I would love that.
Yeah.
I would definitely love that. The guys on Frozen, they just asked me if I could fix a problem, and I was just the hand that was supposed to do the in and out, and then I immediately was like, here, and it was a drop. It was one of those old blinds that you pull a little bit and they would snap up. And it wasn't snapping up like they wanted, and it actually just ended up being a problem with their set. I was like, well, if you let me trim your set where it looks like they didn't get that finished, it should be fine.
They were cool.
So I did that, and he's like, wow, it was like you did that in like seconds. And then I fixed another little problem. He's like, I'm keeping you for the rest of this time. I'm going to put in a request. A month and a half, and then by the end of it, they were like, we would really like to get your contact information to give to the puppet maker who was, I guess, in Portland. And I've kind of held back because I wanted to get, move up in my list in Buffalo before I go taking anything. That way I have a home to come back to with, get a little bit of status. But they said I should go work at the puppet shop. I might look into it. I really love all that. I see faces and everything. Like everything's like a face. I think that's a lot of humans have that. It's in our DNA to find the face to see
like on a wall. You see it in the popcorn ceiling.
All that.
I see it all the time. Yeah, it's cool.
Yeah. So I think it's just that and that Olaf and that was really cool. I hadn't seen a puppet where he's the puppet master's like part of it, obviously, because. To be out on stage, and that was just really cool. And all the hats, there's a bunch of hats in that play. I the whole time I was getting chills and fighting back tears, like crying on set. Just the music and the let it go. And I really struggled with my brother passing, letting that go. It was like to hear that. So I'm almost tearing up now just because I needed that so much.
Yeah, if you have to do it, man. That's what this is about, dude.
Yeah, it really is.
I saw you today, and I thought, man, I want to know his story.
Yeah.
And I never get a chance to talk to local stagehands, but like I told you earlier,
you're busy,
you guys are the backbone of this shit, man. Yeah. Like, this is your house. We just come and we visit it.
Right.
We rely on.
But it is like a family though. With this, it seems like because I did Miami a couple years ago for the winter, and just like everywhere I've gone that's been out of Buffalo, it's just almost like you're going to a family reunion. Yeah. Most of the time, and you get people with a bad day, but most of the time, people just cut through all that bullshit when they get to the site, and they're just ready to do what they do, and learn. And it's like all the good people I've met, they are not ashamed to say they learn something every day. The littlest thing, they learn something every day, and I love that about life, especially this type of work. It's just like you learn stuff, stuff. I've saved people's lives already. Just being, keeping an eye out for things, different things, and and them being like, I'm forever indebted to you. I'm like, bro, I'm just like, I just had my eyes open at the right time, and I would always do that for you.
Right on.
And I like that about it because any one of us, and unfortunately, we do hear stories from time to time. Any one of us could not make it home tonight, or home being where you hang your hat. So if that's a tour bus or a hotel room or whatever, some of us there even today might not make it home. I feel pretty safe about everything I saw, but anything could happen, and it's weird. It's weird to be so close to death, but not really.
Do you find when road shows come through or whatever you're doing, like theater shows, do you find people gravitate to you, like they sense like
Yeah. From the first show, I had this guy, because they didn't know me in my local, so they just assumed I was a roadie. And I was coming out to the arena, and pushing boxes. And he wouldn't let me get him to the dock. He's like, bro, you don't got to push these to the dock. I just thought he was being like, oh, you're the new guy. Like, I want to get your back. Us, right? And then it got like a couple shows later, he's like, dude, you're not a roadie. We actually just lost this cat a few months back. He just didn't wake up. And it's really sad. It breaks my heart. But he was a good guy, and I always remember him, for pushing my cases, thinking I was a roadie.
So
but I get that where I go today at Starbucks. I came out with a whole rack of coffees. Like, how'd you do that? I was like, I don't know. I think it's the mustache. I really don't know. Yeah. But I have that. They're like, you were at the show, or where were you guys yesterday? Or
well, I'll tell you what, man. You have a certain maybe aura. You have a certain character that you present. Like I said, man, you got a stage full of stagehands up there.
Right.
And I was setting up, and I'm like, I called you over. I'm like, hey, man, what's your name?
Right.
Because you had this like vibe to you. It was interesting.
Word.
Yeah. You brought up your brother a couple of times. Were you guys tight?
Yeah. Well, so we were Irish twins. I don't know if you heard that.
No, I haven't.
So he was my older brother. We were 14 months apart. And I guess they call those Irish twins if you're like kind of first chance you can get pregnant kind of thing after a baby. And then every time, my mom was a hairdresser, so I grew up on the cut room floor. And every day I heard, oh, Chris, I didn't know you had twins. I didn't know you had twins. So, I just saw us as twins. We shared birthdays, and so my birthday was his birthday. I made this hat for him. But so the rule is, if you kill yourself, your brother gets to wear your hat. And so I did make this for him, but he's not here, so I'm wearing the hat. So that's the rule. But we shared birthdays, so I just was given this hat. Right, I stayed up like, I don't know, a couple days before I got maybe 2 hours of sleep, and I was just so pumped to get it finished before the show, Odessa show, and I'm like finishing it at the show. Yeah. And but people are like, how do you do that with no sleep? And when you're excited about something, it's just, you go with it. Like, I've just learned, like, the times I waited to get up and start a fresh day weren't always the way. Like, the times you just get the inspiration, you go for it.
Yeah, you can't time that.
You can't
time
that.
Come to you in the middle of the night. So some people sleep with a pad next to them to get write down everything.
Right.
So, you told me earlier, like, you pray every day.
Yeah.
Do you talk to your brother?
Sort of. I'll give him. It's more of like. It's more of like. No. It's more of a head nod. Yeah. I really. I'm kind of one of the sensitives.
Hey, man,
so I have to like kind of monitor how much I allow myself to go. Like I'll cry at a Tampax commercial, or I remember being a kid like, really, you guys are dealing with this? And like, I'm not a female, I don't have to deal with those problems, but it was touching to me to be like, wow, you guys are dealing with this, and I'm crying at this commercial. Like, I'm just kind of one of those sensitive guys, and I always would see, a lot of the designs and things I've made have been just my response to something I see, like the poor kid at the library. I don't know where his mom was. And I saw this kid with his mom on one of the big pillows reading a book to him. And this little kid with nobody was trying to pull this giant floor pillow over so he could get a story read to him. And I don't know why I related to that so much, but I was just thinking, I've got to go home right now and make a floor pillow that we're going to start putting in libraries for these kids that would just want to pull up a seat and need a little bit of a lighter seat to pull over and still get that comfort and still hear the story.
Did you do that?
I did. And, partially inflatable is really cool. I'd love to go into market one day. I constantly find this thing of like, oh, you should have took that deal because it would fund you, but I just didn't want I always thought if you took, like, I'm very spiritual, and I would be classified as, I guess, a Christian, but I don't really believe in a lot of what just religion's done to everything. So, whatever with that. But But I just always thought, take one of they say the 7 deadly sins or whatever. Take vanity, and then and then do something good with it. So yeah, I did want to make out that Gucci money, and I set out to do it. People are like, you don't have to go so big. It just comes to me. But I see it as more of like an opportunity for philanthropy. Because what you could do with that Gucci money is amazing. So I've turned down a lot of deals because it's like I don't want to feed the beast of it all. I want to make sure that the stuff that I was blessed to be able to do is directed in a way. Like I feel like everybody's like, get yours first, which I understand, but maybe have you ever had too much money? Like I keep getting these steady checks. Now I've got too much money. No, it's always allocated for, because that's just the way that life is, and it teaches us. So you're never going to reach a point where you're like, okay, now I have extra money. I mean, it does happen, but I feel like those are different people. So I've got a few ideas that kind of just like, what if somebody did the artist first? What if they plug them up? I mean, you're going to get the best response out of that. I don't know why that's not dawned on people. Yeah. I mean, some like, hey, I don't know. I kind of got into that. My brother, before he jumped off a bridge, he went to these places that he had been put in the system, and they all turned him away. You got to come back, business hours, shit like this. And he's, something bad's going to happen. And now I guess they changed the policy where, that'll never happen again. And they planted a tree, put a statue or something.
Yeah.
But I mean, there's so many people out there where you can literally save their life. I mean, there's like a artist there, and he just needs a new easel. He's broke, and he's like, doesn't have what he needs to get that. I mean, that's his outlet. I mean, like, we're losing people like, that could be the greatest asset, because we all know, after a hard rain in the night, a sunny day the next day is so much brighter than if you had a sunny day every day.
Yeah, right on, man.
So, I don't know.
But dude, your fucking attitude is on point.
I appreciate it.
Like I said, I called you right over and said, hey, let's talk.
I was like, who paid this guy? Who paid him to say that? I was like, my buddy, I'm going to go find Nate.
Well, man, do you plan on doing this for a while? Or do you want to, do you want to get on, you said you wanted to get on the road. But
I'd love to.
If it didn't happen, are you cool just doing...
Yeah, I'm getting to the point now where I've relaxed. There was so much I had to do when I was younger, and it to the point of it was interfering with my quality of life. It was like trying to do this, even though it was good work. You can burn out, man. On things, and so I've put a lot less pressure on myself, and I'm having a happier life, and I'm still able to contribute and and be noticed, and notice people. And I've had so many people are like, man, you really showed me something there. I'll never forget, because the way you showed me, and this is how something like that would have been delivered before, and and so that's it. I mean, I'd like to do more. More like that, and help people out. And,
right on, man.
So I don't see me quitting anytime soon. They'll have to drag me away, but.
Well, my next question might annoy you. Do you have any social media where people can see what you do? You don't know?
I should. I need to get that, but being 47, I did the Facebook thing, and it kind of became like when it first came out, and then it was a little off-putting, because I felt like I went to everybody's events, and before I closed my last shop down, I was like, hey, whoever shows up, man, you get a free hat today. Yeah. And I just, people are like, oh, you need to get like a social media person that knows how to like deliver it. Yeah. And so I just yanked and didn't try it again. But I know that
everybody has an idea of telling you how to do what you do.
Right.
Believe me, it's even in this industry.
Oh yeah.
Everybody likes to tell you how to do what you do.
Sure. Everybody's got a better way. Sure.
Well, Tylor, man.
Yeah.
It's good to meet you, dude. Yeah. I'm glad you took the time to talk to me.
Oh, bro, thanks for having me, bro.
Yeah, we'll have to get your contact info. I'll definitely keep in touch.
I will. I'll hook you up. And it is in the works to get some sort of social media presence.
So you don't have any?
I have nothing right now.
Anything you want to say before we end this, like a message or?
If anybody out there has my dog Jade, if you could please give her back, that'd be great.
You're gonna make me cry now, man.
Yeah.
Well, brother, I do this podcast. It's called Is Breakfast Included?
Okay.
If we were having breakfast, man, what would you have?
What would I have? I would love to have good biscuits and gravy. You know, spicy to the point of the gravy being a little red.
Right on, man.
Yeah.
Hell yeah, dude.
Probably an egg on there, over easy, and some nice crispy hash browns. And tons of coffee, because I love it.
Well, Tyler, dude, it was good talking to you, man. Pleasure to meet you. All right, brother.
Good to meet you. Thank you, brother.
Yeah. Right on. Tylor McConkey. Man, it was really great meeting him, talking to him, and hearing his story. Like I said, he had this crazy hat, and it was really cool. It just goes to show you, everyone has a story, no matter who you are. Sometimes they just want you to ask about it. Anyway, unfortunately, Tylor doesn't have any social media. I did tell him I would forward this to him when it was done, and he'll spread the word for us. All right, guys, don't forget to visit our online store, isbreakfast.bigcartel.com. Pick up a shirt. I am done. Have a great day. We'll talk to you next week.